Cincinnati Bengals' next opponent, Tennessee Titans, on the road in Nashville. We're going to talk about that matchup with a Ring of Honor member, should be in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It's a joke that he's not. Everybody knows it. I'm talking about Ken Anderson, number 14 for the Cincinnati Bengals, one of the greatest to ever throw the pigskin. What's up, my man?
Nothing, Roomy. Just enjoying being to spend a little time with you again, bud.
Here we go. All right, so let's talk about this football game. Tennessee Titans. Like we said, road game. Short week, road game. Noisy stadium. Fans are right on top of you. What about the nonverbal communication part of the game plan for this week? How big is that?
Well, I mean, it's always going to be a key, when you're going silent counts in the huddle and, the good thing, for our guys on offense is they're a pretty veteran group now. They've been around. They've been in these situations before, and I don't think that's going to affect them at all.
Mike Vrabel and the Tennessee Titans lost 27-3 to the Cleveland Browns. The Bengals know what that's like. The Bengals got handled by the Browns as well, 24-3. But Mike Vrabel's the kind of guy, a little bit old school, tough, physical guy. He wants to run the football. He wants to play defense. I imagine this week of practice was not a whole lot of fun. Do you expect that the Tennessee Titans to come out with a chip on their shoulder?
Oh, no question about it. And he's a little bit from that Bill Belichick tree, playing for him with the New England Patriots. And, when you played one of those defenses, don't watch the last 3 games because this game is going to be totally different from what they've done. So, this is where you got to, make, in-game adjustments, pretty quickly with how they're trying to defend you.
Yeah, he does muddy it up a little bit, doesn't he? There's no question about it on that side of the football. Let's when you think Tennessee Titans, you think Derrick Henry, a rare breed of guy, 250 plus pounds that can run like that dude can run. That's a freak.
Oh yeah. Was there a guy that we played against, Earl Campbell, that was something like that? Yeah. This is one, from a defensive standpoint, let's go, baby. Buckle it up. Make sure you got your gaps covered because, we got to stop this guy because he can take over a football game. But luckily, the Bengals have played him before in the past. They know what they're up against. And, Lou Anarumo's a pretty good defensive coach, and he'll have a good scheme.
Ryan Tannehill, very athletic, 12 years in the league now. I can't believe he's a 12-year player. I remember covering him at Texas A&M, and actually – he was an all-conference wide receiver as a sophomore before he played quarterback. So that speaks to his athletic ability. How much do you like him at the quarterback position?
Well, no, he's athletic. He can make all the plays. But, as we saw in that playoff game, sometimes it's that one mistake or two, turning the ball over when it comes at a critical time. I think that kind of, holds him back. And I know that, that playoff loss beat him up for a whole off season. But but he's the guy that could be dangerous if you're not on top of your game.
So the Bengals, they got their first victory. You'd like to see them get another win, and for it to be an AFC win, because don't have one of those yet. Don't have a conference win. Don't have a division win. Got to start stacking some of those up. What do you think it's going to take to knock off the Tennessee Titans on the road, K.A.?
Well, Dave, it's just good, sound, fundamental football. I liked what we were doing last week. We started to get the running game going, and, we called more runs. Joe Mixon was effective, so let's do that. I liked the way that, we were getting the ball out of Joe's hands. I thought the offensive line had, their best game to date so far. Defensively, I think we're coming along. We got consistent pressure on the quarterback, and so, like I say, just, do your job, be ready to go. And, we got to start making some big plays and not give up big plays.
I was impressed by the fact when they ran that little gadget play, the fake toss, and Joe came out on the opposite direction of all the action in the run game, and everybody up front bit. I mean, boy, the defensive linemen and linebackers all bit. Jamar Chase did a good job of selling that, he was going to be blocking, that it was a toss to the backside. And Joe looked like he moved decently, out of the pocket. But it's crazy because everybody with the LA Rams was saying, yeah, Joe just wasn't moving. Joe just wasn't moving around. How tough is that to game plan around when your quarterback, who does have great mobility, is so limited? And if he does get out of pocket and have to run like that, you're running the risk of, oh man, I'm going to tweak that calf again. How do you game plan around those kind of scenarios?
Well, it's interesting because Zach and kind of wanted to get to that play, and that came at a big time in the game.
Right.
And but he and Joe had talked about on the sideline about how you feeling, can you run this play?
Yep.
And and that's the same thing is, just when you got a quarterback or anybody that's a little nicked up, don't ask them to do something that they're not comfortable with. And Joe felt good about it at that time, and like I say, I think it helps us out for this week because now they got to be, you can't just stack everything because hey, he may get outside the pocket on us again.
You're a quarterback savant in terms of playing and then evaluating and looking at quarterbacks. Watching Joe Burrow throw the football now, how much is that calf affecting his mechanics in your eye?
I think a little bit. And, I think the one thing, and was it Anthony and I or Boomer and I talking about it, during the game, there was one sequence when, they had Jamar on about a 15-yard out right in front of the Rams bench. And protection really helped. He had a nice pocket, and the ball was high and outside, out of bounds. And, Joe just doesn't miss that throw. And, so much of your accuracy comes from your lower body mechanics. And like I say, I think he's just a little off there. But the encouraging thing is that he said no setbacks, so it should be a little bit better this week.
He's got one of those injuries that are tricky. The calf is a very tricky injury. And, he's still in the process of rehabbing, and even when it feels really good, he's going to have to stay on top of that all season long in terms of treatment because it can come back at any time. I mean, it's like you might go 2 or 3 weeks and start, man, I'm really starting to feel good. You can't say, okay, I'm back. It's going to be something that he has to deal with all year. Did you ever have an injury like that you had to deal with for an extended period of time or almost all year to be able to play?
Well, I think, was it 77 or 78? I had that deep thigh bruise.
Yep.
And, was kind of getting 100 cc's of blood drained on Mondays and Fridays to go ahead and play. And that kind of really limited me and what you're doing. It limits your practice time. And, sometimes, if it's just, kind of, gets in between your ears a little bit, about what can I do to kind of make this thing a little bit better. But, I will say one thing about Joe Burrow. He is a unique guy, being able to compartmentalize things, and just his focus is unbelievable. And, he's going to find a way to get through it.
He is remarkable that way. I mean, I made a comparison. It really works in your injury because Willis Reed, the captain of the Knicks, when they were driving for a world championship, he had a real bad thigh contusion and he came, dragging that leg out of the locker room, and it was a big rallying point for the team. And this legendary Willis Reed, sucking it up and playing in that all important game. Quarterbacks doing that type of thing, it's big. I mean, and teammates respond to that, but everybody has to understand. You guys are human. It's like you guys need reps. You need time on task. If you don't get all that kind of stuff, and if you're limited physically, you can't expect miracles, right?
No. And like I say, I think he'll get, even though it's a short week and if he had no setbacks and, a little bit more practice time this week, which helps out in a game.
Yep.
And, I tell you what, I got to be honest with you, Lap. My only concern this game is with you and the broadcast team, being on your game, and you're going down to Nashville. Broadway is right there. There's a lot going on down there. And, I want to make sure, I'm going to call you, make sure that you got a curfew, at least with me this week, and make sure that you're rested for the game on top of your game. Because I'm a little bit concerned when you go on the road to a town like Nashville.
I will. I promise I will honor that curfew implicitly. There's no question about it.
They got the Jeff Ruby's down there. That's just off Broadway, so be careful of that one too.
You do. I've eaten there, and it is outstanding as well. There's when you're talking Ruby's, you're talking quality, my man. There's no doubt. Can't thank you enough for your time, and see if the Bengals can go down to Nashville and knock off the Tennessee Titans and Mike Vrabel and company. That would be nice. Stack 2 wins together, sir.
Okay, yep. And like I say, be ready for a phone call at 10:30 or 10:45 to make sure you're in.
I know you'll be sound asleep by 9:30 or 10.
Well, that is true. I had to stay up for the whole Monday night game because I was there.
There you go. Appreciate you.
Thank you, Dave.
Dave Lapham here, and every day I am grateful for my experience to have played professional football. As a player, I realize self-motivation, leadership, and appreciating your teammates are key. At First Star Logistics, you can use those same attributes to create the life you want for you and your family. Build your future by working hard like I did. You'll see results both on and off the field. Call First Star Logistics today and be part of our winning team.
Opportunity knocking.